Mark Rogers TV, always talking college football 24/7, 365. And Fridays is our time to talk South Carolina football. The Gamecocks are on a bye at 5-2, 3-2 in the SEC. In good shape for a decent stretch drive, and who knows, maybe a decent bowl bid as well. We bring in Will Gunter from the all-new early game on 107.5 The Game. Will, how you doing today?
Doing well. It's a different weekend here in the state of South Carolina. Both the Gamecocks and the Tigers on a bye week, so kind of an odd week for us, but we'll find a way to survive somehow, some way.
I think you'll be able to make it through. And it was an ugly game, not the prettiest of football against Tennessee, but anytime you go to Tennessee especially and make it now 2 straight against the Volunteers in dramatic fashion there at the end, maybe it was a little bit closer than it should have been considering Garantano with the ball in his hands with about 1:20 with the length of the field to drive, needing the touchdown and not the field goal. I didn't know that it was necessarily going to get that close, that he was going to make that much of a run down the field, but the Tennessee offense bogged down there in the red zone, but it was tight.
It's another lesson in the prevent defense and why you prefer that it never be used if you're the team trying to use it, as South Carolina had dominated defensively for about 50 minutes. They gave up some plays early on, and Tennessee was able to kick some field goals. But for about 50 minutes, South Carolina then turned into a defensive juggernaut. And then they went to a prevent defense, and they about lost the game. So you never want to see that again. But the bottom line is South Carolina wins. They're 5-2. I think 95% of South Carolina fans would have signed up for that if you'd have asked them in the month of August. They're 3-2 in the conference. There is a great opportunity with winnable home games against Vanderbilt and Florida to maybe win 8 games this year. Wofford is the 3rd team on that list. Georgia and Clemson also on the back half of the schedule. But Vanderbilt, Florida, and Wofford all at home, and an opportunity to win 8 games and have a winning record in the SEC. And in year 2 of a rebuild, I think that's what the importance of that win over Tennessee ended up being.
Will, you've been calling for a running game for a number of weeks now. And even if it wasn't going to be successful in huge chunk plays, commit to the run, dedicate yourself to the run, and then maybe something gets established. And that's exactly what we saw against Tennessee. We saw one of those matchups where it was like, okay, who's going to win out because we've got a weak unit taking on a weak unit. The South Carolina rush game near the bottom of the SEC coming into the game. Tennessee awful on run defense. I think those numbers were a bit skewed by the effort against Georgia Tech and how much they run the ball and how effectively, but still a weakness versus a weakness. And it didn't look good in the first half. And then Rico Dowdle, he leaves the game after 4 carries, and it looks even worse. But the ground game was one of the keys to keeping the ball away and maintaining possession of the ball and control of the game late in the 4th quarter.
I don't like to be too negative, but, man, the lack of creativity in the first half by Kurt Roper trying to run the football was just amazing. And then in the second half, they started running to the perimeter. The touchdown run that A.J. Turner had was around the right end. Jake Bentley kept the ball a couple times on a quarterback, maybe just a flat-out quarterback keeper or a zone read, but went around and picked up first downs running the football. There was a different kind of running game, and that's something that I think a lot of people have kind of clamored for, is to try and use the perimeter more. I don't know if South Carolina is good enough, but at the guard positions between the tackles to run it right up the middle, and so they started becoming a little bit more diverse in how they ran the football, and lo and behold, they were able to do it successfully. A.J. Turner had his best day as a Gamecock, 14 carries for 86 yards. Even a kind of a 4th-string guy, who's now a 3rd-string guy, Mon Denson, got in there a little bit and made some good runs, and the Gamecocks run for 194 yards. And you know what? They committed to the run, and lo and behold, they did it. We'll see if that's something that becomes a focal point moving forward.